guys, it's the Real Aquarian here. Thank you for tuning in and welcome to the next installment of Pick a Card. Today's question is, why can't I get it together? Why is everything so hard right now? As always, I ask that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm going to throw out a crazy number, trying to get to 50 likes, so let's see if we can get there. Okay, so we have sage, bowl, or bone. So go ahead and kind of pick which one's gonna, which one's calling to you, which one's resonating right now. I'll put the timestamp for each one. There is a clarification card under each one as well. 1, 2, and 3, sage, bowl, or bone. So go ahead and pick, and I'm just gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so here we have card 1. Okay, we have the 8 of coins. Okay, so in terms of why can't I get it together? Why is everything so hard right now? So the 8 of coins, a lot of times, really the main message is dedication. So this is a question of the mind. This is a question of focus, of kind of determination. It's also about paying very close attention to detail. This is about putting, screw 100%, 500% of your effort, blood, sweat, and tears into achieving what you want. This is about, I've said that before, this is about how bad do you want it? How much effort are you willing to put in? In order to get what you actually want, it has to be the maximum full effort. It has to be all of you. And so what I'm getting here is, why can't I get it together? Because it's a question of dedication. It's a question of effort. It's a question of focus. When you really fully dedicate yourself to something, you focus on, not just one thing, but you focus on your goal, a realistic, reachable goal. And you really put in the full amount of effort. You do that, and at the same time, you're kind of mending your situation as well. Whether that's mending yourself in the process, mending your financial situation, mending a relationship. But this comes down to, how bad do you want it? You put in the dedication, the focus, the effort. This is about paying very close attention to details. So if you're not putting in that level of effort to where every meticulous little thing, this is about being nitpicky, but in a good way, because it's to your benefit. It's one of those things where if you have, tendencies to be kind of nitpicky and people make fun of you for it, this is one of those, maybe you're not being nitpicky enough, because in a lot of situations, being that kind of critical, searching for mistakes, errors, trying to kind of perfect either your craft or, with a relationship, trying to do better, or just in life, trying to do better. This could just be life journey. But in this situation, this is about really honing in and deciding to go for it. And the problem, why can't I get it together? Why is it so hard? Well, because it takes a lot to achieve it. And that's the other thing, patience. Patience is a big one that a lot of people have a problem with. Blood, sweat, and tears. And understandably, you want tangible results from that. But that also takes time. It takes time to cultivate your craft, cultivate your passion, cultivate your work. So this is one of those, how bad do you want it? The reason why it's hard to get it together is because there's a lack of dedication. And even there, it's not even really a lack of dedication. It could just be a lack of effort. You can be fully committed to something, but still not be open enough to see other kinds of possibilities, opportunities that kind of, open up with that kind of dedication. This is about, learning something new, being open to new suggestions, new alternatives. So if there's a closed off, not really kind of paying attention, then you can be dedicated, but maybe not as 110% as you should be. So that's why things are kind of hard right now, is there's not, you know, dot your I's and cross your T's. Pay very close attention to the details of what it is you're trying to overcome. And that extra effort, you know, that's that extraordinary, you know, kind of effort yields extraordinary results, extraordinary rewards. But it has to take that real amount of focus and fixation. So let's take a look at the clarifying card. Okay, yeah. So we have the Fool. So this actually makes perfect sense to me. That the Fool is also about being open. The Fool is about risk. It's about taking a leap of faith. So in terms of why are things so hard right now? Why can't I get it together? Well, if you're dedicated but not 100% committed to every kind of possibility avenue you can go down to attain or to achieve what you want to achieve, in whatever life aspect that is, then you're not putting in the whole effort. And not every decision, but, life decisions, relationship decisions, work decisions, these are all risky decisions. There's risk in most things. And when you have the Fool here as a clarifying card, what it's telling you is the dedication, determination to get what you want is not only required, but it has to be so fixated, so focused on that it's worth the risk. It's worth the kind of dismissing any kind of doubts or fears to really just go for it. There's risk in, there's reward in risk. So it's one of those things. So what's keeping you, what's not allowing you to, get it together? Why can't you get it together? It comes down to, I would say this: don't let the fear of the unknown, don't let the fear of possible outcomes, what you might think. Like I said, this is a matter, this question with these cards is a matter of the mind. Don't let the fear of the unknown, the possible outcomes, the assumptions of, making possibly a wrong choice, the risk of going south, because this is typically a positive card. It's not always negatively aspected. So it's that situation where if you don't let the fear of making a wrong choice, you take that kind of leap of faith, if it is something you really want, then it won't be such a trying experience. It won't be so hard then to get it together. So that was card 1. Now we have card 2. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, yeah, Ace of Cups. So in reference of why can't I get it together? Why are things so hard right now? The Ace of Cups is about, deep, raw emotion. So, easily this is because the reason you can't get it together, the reason it's so hard is because there are matters of the heart afoot here. So, being about, emotional depth, emotional awareness, there also comes a vulnerability to that. In matters of the heart, if you're hurt, if you're wounded, if there was some sort of betrayal or, just some sort of knock that your heart has taken, being hurt in some way, the Ace of Cups speaks often of elements such as, forgiveness. And that's not easy to do because, again, that puts you in a vulnerable kind of position. Vulnerability for a lot of people is kind of a no-go kind of territory. It's not a good feeling. It's not a comfortable feeling. So if there's some sort of disconnect, if you're not listening to your heart enough and kind of, this is about inner peace, inner harmony, kind of finding that inner balance and it coming to you. That's what the Ace of Cups represents. But it's a situation where you can't have that inner peace. You can't have that inner harmony. You can't, get it together if there's demons that you're not letting lie. If you're not making peace within yourself, everything's going to be harder. Everything, it won't be impossible to get it together, but it'll be that much more difficult to get it together. Because you're not listening to your heart, because there's this kind of, the Ace of Cups is about love, new beginnings, fertility, it's all this good stuff. So it's one of those things where, yes, but on the flip side of the good emotions are things like forgiveness, and maybe that's not easy for you, are things like, vulnerability, which is not easy for a lot of people. But now is the kind of time. So, why are things so hard? Because you're not listening to your heart. You're kind of not looking at the bigger picture, looking at the possibilities in front of you as a result of the love that's around. Love carries energy. How can you use that energy? And so the issue here with why are things so hard is because there's what you're not having is a complete connection with the heart. There's not a complete listening to, your inner feelings. So let's go ahead and take a look at the clarification card, and we have the King of Coins. Okay. So this makes sense, because it completely reiterates where there's a lack. This is usually positive, but in terms of why you can't get it together, in terms of why things are so hard, is because there's counter to this. There's not a listening to the heart. With the King of Coins reversed, though, there's this rut. There's this, that feeling of blech, and I'm fairly certain everyone on the planet has felt this before. But that kind of go nowhere, feeling kind of crappy in general kind of vibe. And again, this can be attributed to the fact that you're not listening to your heart. You're not listening to your feelings, your emotions. And the King of Coins, typically when it's in its normal orientation, is about, having your feet firm, being logical, making reasoned decisions, which is all good and great, and everybody needs that in their life. That is a very important aspect to your life. But when it's in reverse, it conveys the message of, although those things are important, equally important are your hopes, your dreams, your intuition, your heart. And so the King of Coins in reverse is reiterating and clarifying with the Ace of Cups is there needs to be a reconnection to the heart. There needs to be a reconnection with, really tapping into your own feelings about things and feeling them. The problem with the vulnerability is you actually have to go through the emotions. That's, plus and minus side to that. For a lot of people, a lot of times it's hard. It's really hard. So this makes it that much that much harder to get it together if we don't want to kind of go through the motions of having to get it together, especially on an emotional level. And this is matters of the heart. This is head, this is heart. It's important to have, a firm grasp on reality. It's important to have a reasonable, way of figuring out problems. But sometimes those problems are solved with the heart. Sometimes those problems are solved through emotional kind of awakening. So this is card 2. And we're going to move to card 3. So let's go ahead and take a look. Okay. 3 of Coins in reverse. Okay, so in terms of why can't I get it together? Why are things so hard? Okay, so this is a matter of attitude. This is a matter of perspective. This is a matter of the spirit. And that's, we have head, heart, and the spirit. what we have here in the reverse is cynicism has taken too much control. Right out of the gate, the problem here is, why can't I get it together? Why is it so hard? Because you've been disappointed before. Because that's the thing with cynicism. I mean, think about where it comes from. Cynicism comes from disappointment, from those terrible kind of epiphany, those terrible kind of moments of realization. And so you become cynical, especially if you've been disappointed or betrayed or lied to or misled. And so this is definitely the message of you're not working so well with others at the moment. This is typically about, let's, work in groups. Let's, together we're stronger. But in this orientation, in the reverse, it's more, nah, I'm a little too cynical for that. I'm not able to move forward. I'm not able to get it together with others. But that's the cynicism talking. Normally with the Three of Coins, that's the message. You can advance yourself by working with others. This is the reason you can't get it together. The reason things are so hard right now is because you're cynical. The attitude has shifted so much that it's actually affecting your environment, your ability to work with other people. Even if it means you could get it together that much faster, even if it means it would make life easier for you and your endeavors. But there's a block of cynicism. You're just kind of expecting the same kind of crap to keep happening. You're just going to keep being disappointed. So it's one of those things where, why are things so hard? Because there's a lot of perception that they're just going to stay hard. Here the message is what's the point of putting in the effort? You got fake people, you got bullshit kind of going on, whatever the situation is, and you're just sort of tired of it kind of going a usual kind of way. That shocking crescendo at the end filled with disappointment. And that's what this card is kind of saying. There's this, something, when you have that much cynicism, it really is like a spirit killer. And I've said this before, though, the spirit doesn't die. It can be doused. And cynicism is definitely a douser of the spirit. But there's always an ember that stays, lit. There's always the little red ember just burning there at the bottom. You can always reignite it. But the problem here is the cynicism has sunken so deep into the environment, how you're just perceiving everything to be and where it will go and what it will lead to, that you just kind of, you're not able to reset yourself. You're not able to, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and try again. The motivation is kind of gone here, or at least lacking. So let's go ahead and get a clarification card. Okay. Yep. All right, Four of Swords. This is about the need for rest and energy. What are you doing? You need to be giving yourself some relaxation. Now, this could be in terms of just, giving yourself the space to, for quiet and calm, meditation, that kind of rest. But it can also be a signifier of some sort of therapy or, what I always, in my experience, most of the time, it's not even therapy. It is a form of therapy, I should say. Most of the time, it's, you need to talk to somebody. That could be a professional. It could also be a friend. It could be a family member, colleague, whatever, base it on your actual relationships. But a lot of times here, part of the process of recovery is, letting stuff off of your chest. That helps you to kind of recalibrate. And right now, because of cynicism, there's a real lack of, the ability to recalibrate, to reset, to just continue on. Because it's sort of like, what's the point if I'm just going to get the same outcome? If it's never going to change, But again, this is an attitude. This is a matter of the spirit. The spirit doesn't seem to be inclined to make things easier, to see them in an easier kind of way. And the Four of Swords is just reiterating, yo, you need to give yourself that time. You need to give yourself that space, because the cynicism's not doing you any good. Cynicism will always make life harder for you. You know, people can be realistic. People can be, you know, practical, but being cynical is a whole nother beast in itself. And that's not a beast you want to feed, because it really can, it really is a destroyer of parts of your spirit. It will make it that much harder for you to get it together. So it's one of those things where this typically in the normal orientation would say work with others to feel better. In the reverse, it's saying you're not playing well with others because you're cynical. Your attitude is not so great right now towards the outcomes or possible outcomes. And the Four of Swords is saying you need to be able to feel better. You need to feel right before you can press on, before you can get it together. That might be through some form of therapy, which would be this in the normal orientation. It could be, like I said, a professional. But a lot of times it can be just talking to somebody, talking to a friend, talking to a family member, getting it off your chest. Venting in a lot of ways is therapeutic. So that was card 3, the bone. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for tuning in. I also would say I am accepting, I hope you guys put that in the comment section, I'm accepting questions. And so if you guys leave me a question, I'll see if I can't feature it here on my channel. Last week's read was a submitted question, so it's not like it doesn't happen. So go ahead and leave me a comment with your question or feedback, whatever you like. And I would really appreciate it. Also, going for the 50 hearts, so let's see if we can make that happen. That would be awesome, guys. So thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time. Auf Wiedersehen!